state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. We built the pyramids, math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a Big Bang. Hey!
What is the Big Bang Theory? The Big Bang Theory is the leading explanation for how the universe began. Simply put, it says the universe as we know it started with an infinitely hot and dense single point that inflated and stretched, first at unimaginable speeds and then at a more measurable rate, over the next 13.7 billion years to the still expanding cosmos that we know today.
A scientific theory is a carefully thought out explanation based on observations that we make in nature. For example, if I were to say that Dress to Impress on Roblox is the best Roblox game, that would just be a scientific theory based on my observations, using the scientific method, of course.
How the universe was created? Around 13.7 billion years ago, everything in the entire universe was condensed in an infinitesimally small singularity, a point of infinite denseness and heat. Suddenly, an explosive expansion began, ballooning our universe outwards faster than the speed of light. This was a period of cosmic inflation that lasted mere fractions of a second. How did planets and stars form from the Big Bang? When cosmic inflation came to a sudden and still mysterious end, the more classic descriptions of the Big Bang took hold. A flood of matter and radiation, known as reheating, began populating our universe with the stuff we know today. Particles, atoms, the stuff that would become stars and galaxies and so on. This all happened within just the first second after the universe began, when the temperature of everything was still insanely hot, at about 10 billion degrees Fahrenheit, 5.5 billion Celsius, according to NASA. The cosmos now contained a vast array of fundamental particles such as neutrons, electrons, and protons, the raw materials that would become the building blocks for everything that exists today.
A light year is how long light travels in a year. And if I were to say this in miles, you would have to add like flipping words or something to that, which is way too long for some people, so I won't say it.
What is the afterglow? About 380,000 years after the Big Bang, sometimes called the afterglow of the Big Bang, this light is more properly known as the cosmic microwave background, CMB. It was first predicted by Ralph Alpher and other scientists in 1948, but was found only by accident almost 20 years later.
In 1927, an astrologist named George Lemaître had a big idea. You wanna know what this idea was? It was the Big Bang Theory, which is pretty impressive. And then just 2 years later, remember, we're still in 1927, so 2 years later, 1929, another astrologist named Edwin Hubble. If you remember Hubble, that, crosses your mind, think outside the telescope as it, from the Hubble telescope, which sees things. And he noticed that other galaxies, over time, were progressively going away from each other. They were splitting apart like two opposite magnets. Now he theorized that if these galaxies, if they were spreading apart from each other progressively over time, that means at one point they were very close together, which supported George's theory, that Big Bang Theory, such a condensed point, then they explode. So overall, these two astrologists, very important. They basically made the Big Bang Theory popular and built it up from the ground. Yeah. In conclusion, the Big Bang Theory, in simple terms, it's really just a theory of how our universe began. That it was such a small little point, and then it grew and stretched to the size that it is now. And many wonder, how big is our universe? And now scientists, they say it's around 94 billion light years, give or take.